Amidst the mood of change currently enveloping Grenada, with a new government promising a transformational agenda, some things remain the same concerning the way things are done in St. George's. French writer Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Carr, who coined the phrase, "the more things change, the more they remain the same," is analogous to Grenada and other countries that attach themselves to the neo-colonial Commonwealth Club, created by the British colonizers in 1931. You see, the British Commonwealth was formed due to the slow disintegration of the British Empire, which covered a fifth of the world's land surface at its peak in the late 19th century. Its ultimate objective was to maintain British hegemonic relevance over the countries that were victims of its colonial exploits for hundreds of years, and countries that were also desirous of becoming independent nation states. One way in which British domination and cultural hegemony continues is by way of the cringe-inducing oath of allegiance of government ministers and members of parliament, the oath of loyalty to the head of a privileged family with dark ties to the atrocity of slavery, and whose family refuses to even have an honest conversation about reparative justice to the descendants of the colonized and the enslaved, is a vulgar and anachronistic expression of fealty to a nominal head of state whose relevance is waning by the day in some parts of the Commonwealth. Barbados, the Republic of Barbados, recently ditched the Queen as its head of state, and Jamaica is about to do the same. In Canada, a Ledger poll for the Association of Canadian Studies found that 56% of respondents did not agree with the swearing of allegiance to the Queen. In Australia, the new progressive Labour government has established a ministerial position to begin the process of making the country a republic. Australia's Minister of the Republic, Matt Thistlethwaite, said in early June, quote, "As Queen Elizabeth comes to the twilight of her reign, it is a good opportunity for a serious discussion about what comes next for Australia," unquote. It was also music to my ears when Grenada's newly minted Prime Minister said this about swearing allegiance to the unelected monarch during an interview with the Narrative's Callistra Farrier at the Botanical Gardens.
I don't believe in a ceremonial head of state. I really don't see the point of it. I think it's an anachronistic thing that the UK can afford, and rich European countries can afford to have ceremonial heads of state, which you spend a lot of money propping up. But I guess that's understandable because historically the kings and queens were actually the head of state, and they were the ones conquering all over the world and taking people's assets and gold and silver, bringing it back to Belgium and UK and so on. We've inherited the system, but we were the ones who were colonized. And so we've inherited a system of government that, in my view, doesn't work for us. So, and this has nothing to do with the persons who've held offices of governor generals or ceremonial presidents throughout the Caribbean. Oftentimes, their contributions towards our own civilization is unparalleled and deserves recognition. I just won't recognize it by giving you a ceremonial head of state, because the cost of maintaining those things, nobody talks about. The cost of maintaining the office of the Governor General and a place for the Governor General to live, and the security detail and the cars and all of that, is the cost of maintaining probably an entire secondary school or two for an entire year. And so to me, as a country, as a small island, you have to ask, where should your resources go?
Yes, Prime Minister Mitchell, this old colonial relic has to go, with some signposts at the National Museum to remind the nation of their oppressive past. So instead of swearing allegiance to a privileged, unelected septuagenarian and her heirs and successors with their problematic histories of racism and allegations of sexual assault and grift, it will be fitting to look forward to a time when elected parliamentarians in Grenada, who are chosen to serve in the cabinet of the country, bear true allegiance to the people who elected them in the first place. We should all look forward to a time when the oath of allegiance taken by government representatives reflects Grenada's history, cultural identity, and spirit. A pledge that would also acknowledge the original custodians of Camahan, Grenada's original name, given to it by its original Siboney inhabitants, who were brutally uprooted by the ancestors of some of the same Europeans from whom we currently seek political and symbolic legitimacy.